Hello, what a lovely weather today again. I love the weather. There's something about me and the weather. I can't stop talking about the weather. I just love the weather. Although people be saying, oh, it's raining today. Yes, it's raining today, but it's a creation of God. Any season, I love the rain. I love especially the sun. Oh, I love the sun. It just goes to tell us the creation of God, the wonders of God, His love, His everything to us. The weather, no matter the sun, the rain comes. No matter the rain, the sun comes. No matter the sun and the rain, autumn comes, spring comes, and then winter. So you see, that's the same with our life, the same with whatever it is we are going through. No matter what we are going through, there's different seasons for different things. There's a time to jubilate, there's a time to dance, there's a time to have a sober reflection, there's even a time to mourn, or celebrate life. There's a time for everything. So when things are being tossed at us, when we're going through trials upon trials, just know that when you have Jesus, you will surely and definitely be victorious. You always triumph, no matter what. The name Jesus changes things, but you have to believe. Today I'm going to be talking about why the corrections in the church are really not working. Why the corrections from our ministers, from our pastors, they have no result or effect on us. We are still the same from the day we started going to church to the end of the year. There's nothing that has changed. Let me give an example. I know people be saying, Pastor Betty, what are you saying? This is so contradicting. Well, let me say it to you. Let me explain what I mean. I'm not trying to contradict anybody, and I'm not saying anybody's at fault, but I'm just trying to say that we keep going to church every day. Or Sundays, you go to church, your ministers, your pastors, they are saying to you, oh, forgiveness is paramount in our life. Love, God is love. You have to love. You have to forgive. You have to let go, let the past go. You have to trust. You don't have to love. You have to be share. You have to be kind. You have to learn how to share. You have to learn how to show love. But the Bible tells us that one of the greatest commandments is love your neighbor as you love yourself. You have to, be open to everybody. You have to have an open heart to everybody. You have to stop smoking. You have to stop drinking, you have to stop alcohol, you have to stop all the bad habits, you have to stop, if you're a prostitute, you have to stop prostitution. If you're a womanizer, you have to stop womanizing. If you like pornography, you have to stop watching pornography. You have to stop all of those things. The Bible, it says the Bible tells us that is a sin, is drawing us away from God. The question is, did we not know all of those things? Of course, when we go to church, we know forgiveness. Unforgiveness is cancerous. If you don't forgive, it eats you away. We know all of those things. We're fighting to love. We're fighting to forgive. We're fighting to let go. I mean, you dated somebody, a scenario where you dated somebody for such a long time, maybe he or she will just dump you just when you thought you guys were getting married. You're dumped. And then the next thing you hear that the person is getting married just after a couple of months of dumping you, whereas there you were year in, year out, you dated, you spent your last money on this person, you gave everything that you had in you to this person, and then the person had the audacity to dump you. And then they're telling you, speaking forgiveness in your ear. And how do you start from? How do you quantify it? How do you go from this to this? How do you say, okay, I want to let go, I want to forgive? Or you talk to somebody who's a chain smoker, you just tell the person you have to stop smoking is wrong, is a sin. Or you tell somebody who's a drunk, oh, you're deep in sin, you drink too much, How can the person just stop smoking all of a sudden? Or you tell somebody who's a prostitute, oh, you're just wearing your life, you're just wasting away, it's a sin, you do it against God, How? The thing is, we all know all of this, don't we? Or you tell somebody jealousy is a sin, you must not be jealous. Gossiping in church is a sin, you mustn't gossip. Yet they're still gossiping. Yet this unforgiving spirit is still growing on in church or around. It's there. Yet the people who are drunks are still drunks. Alcoholic are still alcoholic. People who are addicts are still drug addicts are still drug addicts. People who are into prostitution are still prostitution. People who have bad habits are still having the bad habit. And yet you keep there every Sunday, you there preaching and singing and marching. They go on that day alone, they are clean of everything. And once they come out of the church, they go back to their gossip, they go back to their unforgiving spirit. Do you think they're not trying their best? They're trying everybody's trying. Let me give an example and I'll explain to you why it's not really working and why it's going to be a vicious circle until we understand that it's not about this preaching, until we understand that it's not about what we preach. It's about how we preach it. It's not for us to preach it. It's for us to point to them where to go to, not just preaching it to them. Let me give an example. You have this unforgiving spirit over somebody who's really hurt you, who had really betrayed you. I mean, really, really betrayed you. You in every place you were right. You were not wrong whatsoever. This person was totally wrong. You were the one who was right. And then you're feeling betrayed and you don't even know how to forgive this person. And then you go to church or you hear sermon about preaching about forgiveness, and then you decide, oh, I want to forgive. And then you decide finally you forgive, and then you have this breath of finally have forgiven and have let go. Thank God, thank God. What wonders, to forgive. Forgiveness is lovely. And then forgetting that the enemy is sitting, waiting. That's his job, to lock, to steal, to confuse. And then the enemy comes with a flood of emotion to remind you of what the person did to you. Did you not remember that time? Did you not remember the things that you did not even remember? That you, even when you were not, when you had not even forgiven the person, you did not remember most of all those things. The enemy will look for the one that presses you the most and keep digging into you. And because you don't have what it takes to quench it there and then, he keeps going in. You struggle the first day that, but I want to forgive this person, I need to move on. And then the second day you need to. And then the enemy keep digging. And finally, after 1 week of saying you've forgiven the person, all comes pouring back and you start. In fact, the hatred and the unforgiving spirit, it becomes even bigger than when you began before. A lot of people are in that place, I know, where you start saying, I can't forgive. And then the enemy, even when you still struggle with the enemy and say, I'm going to forgive, the enemy tells you, but they are laughing at you. See how they dealt with you. Come on, are you not they told this, that's why they dealt with you in the first place. Show them you can deal with them back. It's all a lie. It's all the enemy. And that's why, as a pastor, we do not have the right, or minister, to say, you must stop this, you must. No. We point to Jesus. You point to Jesus. He's the only one who can do it. If Jesus is not in you, you cannot. I don't know how long it will last, but it will come crashing. It's just like, given the example, you're dieting, you want to diet. Of course, you want to lose some weight, and you're somebody who doesn't even take ice cream. But in part of your dieting means that you don't think there's going to be any ice cream in your diet anymore. The moment you say you don't want any ice cream, you never used to take ice cream, all of a sudden you're craving for ice cream. All of a sudden, all the things that you never used to eat, you start craving for them. All the wrong things, because the enemy is there. So everything in our life is a battle. So we know everything is a battle. So why will we go to church, and every day we go to church, all those things are being dug into us? Don't do this, don't do that. Do we know what not to do? We are here. We know right from wrong. We know right from wrong. What people do, what they need to know is how not to do it. Don't tell them don't do it. So I think today I'm not only speaking to just everyone, I'm also speaking to pastors, ministers. You don't push them, you don't force them to say, you must not do this, you must not be like this, you must not be a drunkard. You point them to Jesus, because he's the only one who can remove any habit we have in us. He's the only one who can teach us how to love again and how to forgive. He's the only one, when we open the door, when we want to forgive, we just look at what the person has done and say, it's okay, it's all right, I forgive, I let go. It's only Jesus. When Jesus is in you, that you look up and see what someone has gone through, and yet you are not moved. You look up and see what the way they've embarrassed you, they've shamed you, and yet you say, you know what, I will let it go. And then from that way, you see how Jesus will lift you up. How you, who were the rejected stone before, becomes the chief officer. He will lift us. He's the only one, when we are dumped on the floor, can dust us. You're telling somebody who's an alcoholic, stop drinking, it will kill you. How can he stop? He's an alcoholic, for crying out loud. How can he stop doing it? But when you introduce him to Jesus, when Jesus manifests himself to them, when Jesus go into them, all of a sudden it becomes effortless. It just happens. They just wake up and they stop drinking. They just wake up and they stop smoking. They just wake up and they stop being addicted to things that they are addicted to. They just wake up and see forgiveness is, I have forgiven this person. They just wake up and they're full of love. They just start showing kindness, showing love everywhere they go. That is Jesus. So the job of a minister, our job as a pastor, is to point to Jesus. We are not Jesus. We cannot. You can talk from now till tomorrow. Why is it that in a church where you've been a pastor for how many years, there's still so much gossiping, there's still so much anger, there's still so much depression, there's still so much waywardness? Because we are fighting and beating them to be what they cannot be. Only with Jesus, it's not because they don't want to be all of those things. It's because the enemy, we have not taught them how to differentiate Jesus and the enemy. We have not told them that once you decide to move away from whatever is negative in your life, the only way to win that battle is to come to Jesus. We just feel it today every day. You must give. You must change your life. You must change your attitude. It is love. Anything without God said He's love and altogether loving. He's the embodiment of love. You see, when Jesus came, when Jesus sent, if you look, let us start from John 1:1. It says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word became flesh and dwelled among men. If you look at the life of Jesus, you know, Jesus in everything was dignified. Jesus in everything was loving. The Bible tells us God is love and altogether loving. Everything from God is love. Everything that comes out of God is love. So when you allow Jesus to come into you, and the Jesus that comes into you, first of all, is the word that we speak, W-O-R-D. When it comes into us, when it dwells in us, everything becomes seamless. All the puzzles are filled. All the things that you did not understand. He gives you wisdom. He gives you knowledge. He gives you understanding. He makes you easily love, easily forgive, easily welcome, easily accept, easily trust, easily let go. Addictions flee away. Because one thing we don't understand, addictions are spirits. And spirit are this spirit, the enemy. Addictive spirits are the enemy. They want you not to. It's like being in captive when you are an alcoholic. It's like locking you up when you are a drug addict. It's like locking you up when you are you're flat. It's like locking you up when you are so unforgiving. It's locking you when you're rude, when you have no gratitude. The enemy it's like being locked up in captive. But the moment you let Jesus come into you, and then He comes and dwells in you. For it is only in Jesus we can do all things. That's what the Bible tells us. In Him alone. For greater is He, Jesus, who is in us than who He is in the world. So when we let Jesus come and dwell in us, for the Bible tells us that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. For the Bible also tells us that God said that He has given Jesus, His Son, the name above every name. And God said that He sent His precious Son to die for all our sins, for all our sakes. Therefore, for us to be able to do anything, we have to look up to His Son, the cross. For on the cross, when Jesus died, He said it was finished, meaning all our pain, anger, all our addictions. He took it from the enemy and He has crushed it. Therefore, in order for us to achieve in anything we want to achieve, it's not about saying we don't know what to do. It's about looking up to Jesus to break the chain, to break every hold of the enemy over us. And you know what? In the mornings, there are times when I just feel I can't do it. The moment I hear that I can't do it, I just change it to I can do it through Christ who strengthens me. You have to. You see, every day is a battle. You have to have the right thinking. You have to reprogram yourself. And how do you reprogram yourself? By bringing Jesus. Every time you keep calling yourself a failure, you will remain a failure. But the moment when you start saying, no, I refuse to be a failure, Jesus was not a failure. He is the King of the world. He owns the world. He is my Lord. He is the Son of God. He died so that I am free of all these negativities. I am free of whatever bondage, of whatever thing is holding me and not letting me strive or achieve my aims and that what God has called me to go and do. Then we're beginning to lose that, that hold the enemy has over us, until we start realizing that it's only Jesus that can free us of any bondage. We will remain in that bondage. And for as long as pastors are keep hammering, oh, don't do this, oh, don't do that, oh, it's a sin, nothing changes. But the moment where we speak with love, where you show love, because God is love. And addiction is a spirit that just goes into us. So you cannot laugh at somebody who's a drug addict and frown at the person. What about you? You like food too much. You are a food addict. What about you? You smoke too much. You are you have a smoking addiction. What about you? You drink too much. You have a drinking addiction. What about you? You lie too much. You have a lying addiction. What about you? You curse too much. You have a cursing. These are all spirits. They are not of God. So don't open your mouth to start saying, oh, he's like this, she's like that. No. The Bible said when the adulteress was brought to Jesus, Jesus said, those without sin, cast the first stone. And everybody walked away. So you see, don't so people, my people, God is saying, do not think about what the sins that you have committed. Think about Jesus. He's the only one who can cleanse you and cleanse us of all our sin. Don't think about coming to Jesus when I'm clean. You cannot clean yourself by yourself and come to Jesus. The woman who was the adulterer, the one who was caught in adultery, when they brought her to